Welcome, Army fans. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com. After the Army-Navy game, post-game analysis, well, you all saw what happened, I'm sure. 31-13 Navy. They dominated in every phase of the game, absolutely kicked Army's butt. No two ways to put it. That was one of the most dominant performances we've seen in an Army Navy game since before Jeff Monken was the head coach at Army. I can get into stats. I will a little bit. They just show the complete dominance of Navy over Army today. We can get into the why. I think a little bit of that is speculation. And I'm not going to indulge weird rumors or conspiracy theories, but I'll just tell you why I think some of this stuff happened. And of course it's a guess. Um, do want to make a disclaimer before we get started. Obviously, like most Army fans, I am not excited about the outcome right now. I haven't had to give a post game like this probably since the UMass game last October when Army got beat at home to a terrible UMass team. So I may be a little spicy and saucy a little bit. Make no mistake about it. I think we're all in agreement. Army got outcoached and outplayed in every phase of the game. Here's my disclaimer. I am going to give very honest analysis. Might be hard hitting. Um, None of that is a reflection on the character, leadership, integrity, or just the quality of any of these fine young men who play for Army. They've had a very successful season, AAC champs, now 11-2. Something to be proud of, something they should be excited about. But today, let's face it, they didn't bring their A game or even their B game. It was closer to their C minus game. Clearly the worst game Army's put together all year. Yes, Navy had a lot to do with that, no doubt about it. I'm going to give them their props. Uh, Sometimes in life you have to eat some crow. And this is one of those times. Navy was better today in every phase of the game. That being said, that's your disclaimer. I'm going to give some honest analysis. If you're the type of person who can't handle that or easily gets your feelings hurt, you may want to leave now. Like I said, none of that's a reflection on the character, integrity, or leadership skills of anyone on the Army team. They're all great young men. I've had the opportunity to meet all of them. Just today, in the football world, their best football did not show up. I don't know where it was. They left it at Mikey Stadium last Friday night against Tulane. It did not make the trip down the turnpike, down 95 to Washington, D.C. Where do we want to start? Let's start with this. Army did only have 1 week to prepare for this game. Jeff Monken mentioned multiple times leading up to the game. This is the first time we've only had 1 week to prepare. Clearly, I think the lack of preparation showed up. It showed up and was clear in a number of areas in Army's defense's ability to stop Navy's two-dimensional offense. Army couldn't stop the run or the pass. Navy ran for, I think, better than their season average, 271 yards, and Blake Horvath threw for over 100 yards. So couldn't stop the run or the pass. Hard to win a game when that's the case. All throughout the year, bend but don't break, don't give up explosives. They gave up explosive after explosive. Donovan Platt, terrible fundamentals on the sideline, leaves his feet at the beginning of the second half. Heidenreich goes 42 yards for a touchdown. Every time Horvath got the ball, he was running downhill with momentum, fell forward, didn't really get hit hard all day. Army was trying to play catch up. It was clear. I think what shocked me was the way Navy's offensive line and defensive line dominated Army in the trenches. Army's Joe Moore Award winning offensive line with all the Americans and all the conference kids, not sure where they were today. They flat out got their butt kicked. Navy's nose tackle, Brian Robinson, other than Horvath, may have been the player of the game. He absolutely dominated the middle all day. We had to start double teaming him in the second half because he was kicking Brady Small's behind. There was no blocking up front. Guys were flying free on every single play. And in the second half, of course, Robinson, a 300-pound nose tackle, takes a fake punt on 4th and 5, 36 yards, when Navy's up 21-13 to basically put the game away. Yeah, Coach Saturnio, one of the great special teams coaches, Broyles Award semifinalist or finalist, I believe. 4th and 5 at the 45. You don't think the team needs to be ready for fake in that situation? And this is what I mean. All throughout the day, mistakes that Army made, other teams make all season, they made today. All throughout the day, when Army was making plays that they would have made all season, they didn't make them today. Donovan Platt, all throughout the season, would have made that tackle on the sideline. Uh, I saw Max DiDomenico get smoked by Blake Horvath on one play. There was plenty to go around, believe me. The Army defensive line absolutely got beer trucked all day long. Linebackers played okay. Even Andon Thomas had an interception right in his hands that he dropped. Um, and then let's go to the offensive side of the ball. No blocking. Army was forced to throw the ball. It became clear. Here's been the problem with Army over the last couple of years. And really, if we're being honest, maybe forever. Um, and Jeff Monken says it. If we can't run the ball, we can't win. Well, there has to be a plan B. And I saw very little misdirection, very little counters, no reverses. Navy had screen pass. I'm just looking at all the creativity on Drew Cronick and Navy's side. I mean, every matchup in this game, Navy won. Drew Cronick kicked Nate Woody's butt all day long in scheme. Screen pass, bang, goes for 35, 40 yards. Reverse, misdirection, boom, big yardage. Horvath, fake jet sweep, run, goes for 40, 50 yards, one after another. Horvath had over 200 yards rushing today, averaged, what did he average? 8.2 yards a carry. Uh, asked the question all year, who would you rather have, Blake Horvath or Bryson Daly? Sorry to say this, today I'd rather have Blake Horvath. He was clearly the better player today. Not saying he's the better player. Today, he was clearly the better player. Bryson Daly turned the ball over twice all season. He turned it over 3 times today. Two of them were just bad passes. One of them was just football 101 fundamentals. You're rolling left, going out of bounds. You don't throw the ball across your body to the middle of the field, ever. That is like a football 101. Do you think you're Pat Mahomes? No. What are you doing? Um, just atrocious ball all the way across the board. 3 turnovers. They cause no turnovers. They get smoked on a fake punt by a 300-pound nose tackle. And it was, I think at the end of the day, here's what I want to get to. An Army better figure this out. Jeff Monken better figure this out. Um, in the 5 seasons since Brian Newberry's been at Navy, stat check me if I'm wrong. Army has never scored more than one offensive touchdown in regulation in a game. 2019, we had 7 points. 2020, we had 15 points. It was one touchdown, 2 field goals, and a 2-point conversion, or a safety, sorry. 2021, when we lost, we had one touchdown, I believe, and 1 or 2 field goals. 2022, the overtime game, we had one touchdown in regulation. 2023, last year, when we got a win, we had one touchdown in regulation. Bryson Daly pass to on offense. Bryson Daly passed to Tyson Riley for the touchdown. Today, one touchdown on offense. It's amazing that over that time period, we've actually been 3-3 against Navy with those kind of offensive scoring statistics. It's really hard to win games in college football in the year 2024, 2025 when you score one offensive touchdown. And since Brian Newberry's been at Navy, that's what he's done. Whether it was Brent Davis or Drew Thatcher or now Cody Worley, he's making all of them his victim, and he is whooping their behinds from a scheme and tactics standpoint. And Here's the problem with Navy. I was talking about it with Charles Grievous. I was talking about it with a number of people. If you're Army and you're running the ball well and your plan A is going well, triple option, power, fullback dive, quarterback follow, gun, all's well that ends well. You beat Tulane 35-14. You have a great season. When teams shut down Army's option A, what is their option B? They don't have a backup game plan. Never have. And until they develop one, they are going to struggle with Brian Newberry and they're going to struggle in academy games in general, but specifically against Navy and Brian Newberry. They have to have a secondary game plan. Navy had it. Navy got their quarterback in space, created big lanes, was able to do a bunch. And that's just been a problem for Army, regardless of who the offensive coordinator and regardless of who the quarterback is. Navy scored the most points in an Army Navy game since 2019, won their first Commander in Chief's trophy since 2019. I don't know how many different ways I can say they dominated in every single phase of the game, but they did. They absolutely kicked Army's butt. You know, don't want to make excuses, but Army had a really tough game against UTSA on the 30th. They had a really tough November. They had to get ready for a conference championship and then turn around and get ready for this game. I don't know if that's why they weren't focused. I don't know if that's why they were tired, but clearly they were tired and not focused. Just making mistakes that we haven't seen them make. Blocking, getting off of blocks, playing their gaps, playing their run lanes correctly, playing their fits, whatever you want to call it. Special teams, kickoff coverage was horrific. Granati boots the opening kickoff out of bounds. Navy had field position all day long, which you don't want to give up field position in this game. Um, again, with the fake punt, just drove me absolutely crazy. I mean, game was mostly over by then anyway. Game was really over when Bryson Daly threw the first pick and Army went down 14 nothing. Just not what we've come to expect from this team all season long. Everybody has a bad day. I have them. You have them. We all have them. Um, so let's just call this a bad day against Navy. Now let's talk about the bowl game. As you know, Marshall's whole team pretty much hit the transfer portal. They pulled out of the bowl game today. Looks like it's going to be Louisiana Tech in the Independence Bowl. They were 5-7. Army should roll them, but Army did have some significant injuries today. We'll have to see mentally how well they recover from this beatdown, which is exactly what it was. I give Navy and Navy fans a hard time. I gotta say it, they kicked our butts today. It is what it is. It happens, but I just think going forward in this rivalry, Coach Monken is going to have to figure out how we put more points on the board because gun, QB follow, QB power, fullback dive isn't going to do it. Triple option, not going to do it. Passing the ball, until we get a passing quarterback, not going to do it. So he's got to figure out something. It's easier said than done, but him and Cody Worley are going to really have to hit the drawing board and figure out, I don't know, misdirections, reverses. I know he hates trick plays. I know it's about blocking and tackling and being the more physical team and all that. Well, guess what? Navy was the more physical team today. Part of that might be because Army had two really tough games in a row coming in here. You can't always rely on being the more physical team. Sometimes you have to be slicker than the other guy, and Drew Cronick and Brian Newberry outcoached Jeff Monken, Nate Woody, and Cody Worley. Period. End of story. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for me for GoBlackKnights.com. Navy 31, Army 13. We will see you guys for the bowl game in 2 weeks. Go Army, beat Louisiana Tech, and let's still finish this out with 12 wins.